Okay. Now, humility, we learned about humility today. Humility is not thinking how small I am and getting myself, like I'm nothing. Rather, it's realizing how great God is and how big God is, how great the divine is. Now, Rav Pinchas taught, according to, this is some of the teachings of Rabbi Balafia from this morning, I'm reviewing with you. It's very, very special. That really, who was the humblest person taught about in the Torah, in the written Torah? We know that it was Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, the holy highest Navi that ever was. And we know that the time, when did he become the most holy of all? I believe it's in the book of Exodus and Shemos, where it says, he says to Hashem, please show me your face. I want to see the fullness of you. Your presence, your full presence. He says, no, you can only see the backside, which I guess the Gemara in Shabbos is telling us that it refers to the kesher of the tefillin. Yeah? And otherwise you won't be able to live. My presence will kind of annihilate your existence, I guess, just by the sheer nature of it. But we see that Moshe Rabbeinu was the humblest of all. Why? Because he had grown level by level by level by level, greater and greater consciousness of the greatness and expansiveness of what God is, who God is, how high God is. And so, the greater that understanding is, the more humility we have. But not shrinking myself in a small world, but rather keeping myself big, even bigging myself, it's not a word. Expanding myself, understanding how great I am, but expanding even more my understanding of how big God is. So by doing that, Moshe Rabbeinu became the humblest of all, which is amazing. I was taught long ago, and that somewhere in the Baal Shem Tov's teachings, that a person, before he prays, ought to spend some time meditating on the greatness of God, how big God is, how far away God is, how all-encompassing God is. And by doing that, our prayers will become appropriate and proper. So that's interesting. Now, also, we heard a story today about the Chofetz Chaim. The Chofetz Chaim in Bnei Brak, in a city in Israel, before streetlights were invented. When the first streetlight was put in, he was walking down the street, and his student said to him, Rabbi, what do you think? No, what do you think of the streetlights? And he said, now I understand the Gemara. Now I understand the piece of the Talmud that teaches that the Torah is a light and God is a lamp. No, God's a light and the Torah is a lamp. I have to get it right. But that basically the light of shining God, God's light shining, is just like the street lamp. It's the street lamp's just like that. It's a good metaphor for us to learn from. How so? Because when the closer I get, he said, to it, the smaller the shadow gets. And the further I am from it, the greater the shadow is. Actually, it's so amazing what he's saying, because the further, if I'm far, far away from it, it's all shadow. The point is that the closer I get to the spiritual higher power, right, the light of the higher power, the more I am, my shadow shrinks. And shadow here, I guess, is representing kind of the blown up ego, the falseness of the blown up ego. Like, I'm still the same size, whether I'm 8 feet away or 2 feet away from a street light. I'm my size. That's reality. I'm the size I am. So that's a beautiful teaching, that the closer we get, the smaller we appear and the greater the light appears. But really, we're the same size, but now we see how bright and how awesome the light is. So I think what would be a great exercise for us to do before prayer is to take the holy mystic, the Baal Shem Tov's exercise, and to work on making God great, making God expansively great and amazing, but also to strengthen ourselves and realize, just to kind of come closer and realize that the shadow that we are is that we are great. We're a solid human being with a lot to offer in this world, and in the presence of the greatness of God, it's just very humbling. Wow, I'm just like this. So I think that'd be a great activity. And let's learn and grow from this about what true humility is. True humility is not becoming very small and insecure and broken. We have enough of that already. We need to heal and have the greatness of who we are. Otherwise, we just have holes in ourselves, and we're like the shadows. The light's just going through us. It's not going to work. We need to be a strong whole vessel so that we can move forwards into the light and hold our own and do what we came here to do. Have a beautiful day.